I'm literally dying from shallots back here.
Oh God, it makes me, I'm crying too. Are you cutting shallots?
Yeah. Welcome to our casa, and today we're making oxtail agnolotti. And before we get started, please remember to like this video, comment below, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell to get notifications of new videos. Agnolotti is a Piemontese dish that dates back to the 14th century. It's a dish that they would make after long festivals the day after with all of that leftover roasted meat. Or for Sunday supper, where they would use the meat as the filling and the gravy as the sauce. The agnolotti is definitely easier than its stuffed pasta cousins, the ravioli or tortellini, but we still do have a lot of cooking to do, so let's get started. First things first, we want to take our oxtail out of the fridge so it gets to room temperature, and then we're going to salt and pepper it before we brown it. We're going to use a Dutch oven pan for this, something with a lid, because the oxtail is going to cook down and braise for a few hours. So we're going to start with a little olive oil in the bottom of your pot. 2 of those oxtails at a time, just to give them a nice brown, crispy edge and flavor. After 2 minutes, let's flip it to the other side. Take these out. In that same pan we just took out our oxtail, we're gonna add a little olive oil, put the flame down to a low heat, and we're going to add our sofrito, which is just 2 chopped carrots, 2 chopped celery, and 2 chopped onions. Once we know that pan isn't scorching hot anymore, we can raise that heat to about medium high. And 2 crushed cloves of garlic. Put that in there. After about 4 or 5 minutes of cooking down the vegetables, now we're going to add 1½ cups of a dry red wine. Now I'm gonna also add 4 sprigs of rosemary and 2 bay leaves. After 8 minutes, we're gonna add 4 cups of chicken stock. Now we nestle our little oxtails in there. After we add the oxtail back in, we're gonna add 12 ounces of crushed tomatoes. Now we'll wait for it to get up to a simmer. Let's lower that flame to medium-low and cover it up and let it slow cook. Now that our oxtail's braising, it's time to make the pasta. And you can totally make this by hand, but we're gonna make everybody's lives easier and use our stand mixer. In Italian, supposedly they call it planetaria. I just found out, which sounds like planetarium. I don't really understand, but okay. So we're gonna use 8 eggs total. This is a very eggy pasta, and you're gonna use 2 whole eggs. The remaining 6 is just gonna be yolks. For our pasta, we're gonna be using a 00 flour. This is the perfect pasta flour. We have 360 grams, which is about 2 cups. Then we're also gonna add 5 grams of salt. Close that up. And I'm just gonna stir that until that fully gets incorporated. After about 1 minute, we're gonna add our 2 whole eggs, our 6 egg yolks, and 6 grams of olive oil. We're going to continue to mix this on a low speed until everything's incorporated. All right, once it's formed a little bit of a mass, We're gonna take it out, do a little hand kneading. After 10 minutes of hand kneading, you're looking for a pretty smooth surface and it to feel pretty nice and spongy. We're gonna cover it with plastic wrap and let it rest. Nice and tightly wrapped up, and we're gonna let it rest at room temperature from anywhere from 30 minutes, that's the minimum, to 2 hours. Our oxtail is braising, our dough is resting. I think we all deserve a glass of wine. What are we drinking today, Nooch?
So, since...
What's the hooch, Nooch? That would be a good t-shirt.
Since we are cooking today, it is from Piemonte, I thought we should pair it with wine from Piemonte by definition. Nebbiolo.
My favorite!
Actually, the proper denomination of this wine is Langhe Nebbiolo. We already had the chance to mention the Langhe in other videos. UNESCO World Heritage, this site is full of hills, truffles, incredible wine and food. Just about 50 miles south of the region capital, which is Torino. Barolo and Barbaresco are amongst the world's most incredible wines and are made of Nebbiolo, which is pretty popular for its strong tannins that usually needs years before to soften up. The young Barolo and Barbaresco you find in your wine stores are usually accessible in terms of price, but they won't be ready to be drinking for other many years, while the old vintages are very pricey and usually very difficult to find. So what's the best solution for this dilemma? Langhe Nebbiolo. Langhe Nebbiolo may lack the intensity, the aging structure of the Barolo and the Barbaresco, but for sure it conveys all the best characteristics of the Nebbiolo grapes. This wonderful grape varietal seems to prosper only in Piedmont. The Langhe Nebbiolo we're drinking today is from a producer called Nino Costa. This wonderful 7 acres estate was founded in 1851 by the Costa family, and generation after generation is now run by Alessandro Costa and his adorable dad Nino and Mama Gemma. This is another of those wineries that married the organic approach. They don't use any herbicides or pesticides, and they only use natural fertilizers. So I'm very excited to try. Let's open it. Ooh.
Who's excited? I'm excited. I'm excited. I love Nebbiolo. Look at this color. It's so beautiful. It's my Nebbiolo song. You are the worst. You might be the worst. Cheers to that.
Thank you, Costa family.
Thank you, Costa family. This looks beautiful, smells beautiful, and tastes beautiful. It's been 3.5 hours and our oxtail is braised. So we're gonna start by gently taking out these oxtails. They should be nice and soft. The meat's gonna be falling off. So much collagen and fat in these guys. This broth is gonna be insane. Before we strain, we're gonna just take all of that fat that kind of congealed on the top. Shout out to our new faucet. Thanks, Mike and Alan. So we're roughly just gonna chop this up. Back in that pan again, we're gonna add a little olive oil. 1 shallot, just sliced up there. Once our shallots are cooking, we're gonna add that chopped oxtail back into the pot. We're gonna add 1 tablespoon of red wine vinegar. Now we're gonna season our filling a bit. I'm going to add just a pinch of nutmeg. Let's add some salt, 2 pinches. After a few minutes, you can see how it's starting to get kind of caramelized, a little brown, sucking up all of that vinegar and all of its other juices. And we want to keep it nice and moist. So we're going to, that beautiful roux, sauce, whatever you call it, that we strained from the cooking of the oxtail, we're gonna add just a little in there. All right, let's get our blender and put our oxtail in. And you wanna do this right when it's done cooking, when it's still nice and hot. It's gonna just blend so much better. It's gonna add a little bit of that liquid in there. And if you need to add more liquid as you go, totally fine. We have our oxtail braised, our dough has been resting, we're drinking our wine, our filling is made. Now it's time for the fun part, making the agnolotti. All right, we're gonna cut it in half and work with 2 different pieces here. That other half that you're not using, put that back in that plastic wrap. Let's do this. After that first roll is out, we're going to fold it. Make sure it has a little flour. Tutto bene? All right, after all the agnolotti are completed, we have our pot of boiling water and we're going to salt that generously. Now we want to get it up to a boil, but we don't want to cook our agnolotti when it's rapidly boiling. We want to cook it when it's at a simmer. So bring it up and then let it cool down. In a large saute pan, we're going to melt 2 tablespoons of butter. Once your butter is melted, we're going to add, oh yes, some of that beautiful cooking juices from our oxtail. Let's bring these little babies in. These guys are not gonna take long to cook at all. Just a minute or 2. Into the sauce. Let's get those little babies in there. Okay, now we're gonna add some fresh chives. Little Parmigiano Reggiano.
Okay! Woo. Took a lot of work, but this baby is ready.
Like, grab a fork. Worth every second. Oh my God. Holy moly. Good thing we made so many. Well, thank you. Please subscribe to our channel, like this video, ring the bell for notifications, and enjoy. Yeah. Bye.
Ciao.
Hit the lights, maestro. Hit the lights. Leave me alone. And all my agnolotti shame. Enjoy.